Your thoughts. Unison, meantime, has won what it calls a landmark court victory against the government over controversial fees for taking claims to an employment tribunal. The Supreme Court said the government was acting unlawfully and unconstitutionally when it introduced the tariff 4 years ago. Our senior political correspondent Jason Farrell is live in Westminster for us. Hi, Jason. What will this mean in practice?
Well, what it means immediately is that people won't have to pay these fees anymore. And what it also means is the government will pay those fees back to those people who had to pay them. Presumably they didn't get awarded the fees back as part of the process. But if they didn't, then the government is going to pay them back, going back to 2013 when these laws come in. I suppose the other thing it means is quite a lot of embarrassment for the government. Big slap down to them by the courts, and also some of the unions delighting in this. The TSSA, one of the transport unions, calling for Chris Grayling to be sacked because he was Lord Chancellor when this was introduced. They're also being critical of the Liberal Democrats, who were in government at the time with the Conservatives when these laws came in. So it is embarrassing for the government, and there's been some backtracking today from the Minister for Justice, Dominic Raab. Let's hear what he had to say.
Well, obviously we're disappointed to get a judgment against us, but we respect the judgment. We're going to take it fully on board, and we're going to comply with it. And already today we're taking immediate action to show that that's the case. We're going to stop charging the fees immediately, and we will be bringing forward arrangements to make sure there's a refund dating back to when they were first introduced back in 2013. The tricky, the difficult, the fluid balancing act that we've got is we want to make sure there's proper access to justice. We want to make sure frivolous or spurious claims don't clog up the tribunal. And at the same time, we've got to make sure we've got the right way to fund it.
So that's £32 million worth of fees that the government's going to have to pay back, a bill that will be picked up by the taxpayer. But the problem was you had people who were making perhaps small claims where the fees might be around the scale of the amount of money that they were trying to claim back. And the other issue was that there were higher fees for sexual discrimination claims, for example, and the unions were able to claim that this was discriminatory to women because there are more female sexual discrimination claims, many more, than there are male ones in the courts, as you can understand. So that was one of the issues that they were able to bring up. And I think one of the other issues around this is it wasn't passed in an Act of Parliament. It was passed as a piece of secondary legislation. And this is significant because the government is looking to pass more secondary legislation over the transfer of powers from the EU to the UK when they bring forward the repeal bill, and there will be issues in that potentially around employment. And here is a test case that shows that the government can be challenged on those kind of pieces of secondary legislation and defeated. So it's a warning shot really to the government as well as a headache right now.
Okay, for now, thank you.